Brodes Media.
Oh, I did not have fun tonight. I was not having any fun. But that's why, after this episode is over, I'm going out back and I am puffing on this outstanding Emilio cigar because that makes me happy, because it tastes so good, because my lips haven't touched anything better in my life than an Emilio cigar. Old school roots, new school attitude. And this episode is brought to you by Emilio Cigars. They sponsored this podcast. Locally owned, third generation, made at Fabrica Oveja Negra in Nicaragua. So this is the real deal. It is legit as hell. And I have an entire box of these cigars sitting right in front of me. I've been giving them to some of my family members saying, yo, check this out. I've been handing them off to a couple of my buddies, and they're all in awe. Seriously, all of them are in awe because of how great these Emilio cigars taste. And I said, dude, I know it's the only cigar to smoke. You got to join the Emilio cigar family. Available at many fine tobacco shops, and you can ask for them. And you can check out the link down below in the description, which will bring you to their destination, and you are missing out if you are not enjoying an Emilio cigar. Disgusting, flat out disgusting effort following what you did on Friday night. You should be ashamed of yourself. You possibly allowed Juan Soto to wake up. You just allowed 7 fucking bombs, 7 fucking piss missiles. These things were nuked. Why couldn't you do that, huh? Is it too much to ask on a night where the ball is clearly moving and grooving in the air? Where's ours? Did you even show up to the ballpark with a purpose? Is that a fair question to ask? Wow. All the momentum, just like that, potentially snipped. There's a chance you can save yourself with Luzardo on the bump for Sunday Night Baseball, but we're not there yet. And that's a big question mark considering the Luzardo that's been on the mound for the last 4 starts. And as much as I'm a Mick Abelsman, this one's a tough pill to swallow. Now, against the Cubs and the Mets, we have a he can't pitch against better lineups problem. Back to back to back! Not just back to back. Back to back to back, man! Come on! This is right after going down 1-0 early, and before you know it, 3-1. Nick, still riding the high. I don't know about you, but that play out in right field where he's jumping up into the wall, where the outfield and the first base line meets, and he's in the corner, and then the ball's 80 feet behind him and to his left. I mean, I can't even describe where the ball went. He was in such a random ass spot on the field. I didn't even know. What? Oh, why? Why does it have to be so painful? Why does it have to be so brutal? Why can't it just be lovely? Why? Joe Ross stinks at baseball, but we all knew that. You never know what you're going to get on a day-to-day basis. You let the Mets come into town after getting embarrassed and suck the life out of your fans. out of CBP. Back to back to back. I'm so sad. I really wanted to absolutely kill the Mets. Big time. You could have kicked them in the nuts so bad that one may have popped. If you could have done the unthinkable, which is win this game and then set up an opportunity to sweep them. 3 straight sweeps. They're questioning everything. They're lost. They're afraid. They have to start screaming about team meetings and firing people and questioning everything about their existence as a group. But now it's the same old story and the same old dance. This team is inconsistent as hell. And it puts it in perspective for the 1,000th time how important Aaron Nola is to this franchise. 4 innings of work, 3 innings of work. The Mick Abels, unfortunately, as a Mick Abel fan here, it doesn't cut it. And Pitching Ninja is trying to say that he's tipping pitch. No. He's not good enough yet. And I hate to be so harsh, considering I've been so 2 thumbs up on the kid. And even in that Cubs game, I took away positives, even though the box score was dim. But now it's back-to-back starts against teams that aren't the Pittsburgh Pirates, that aren't the Miami Marlins. He did well against the Toronto Blue Jays, and they're not stiffs by any means. But this is definitely not helping. This is making me feel worse about where he currently stands. Not that he's not on a good trajectory, not that he's not in a good spot considering where he was last year as basically a nobody in the organization anymore. He rebranded himself, and that's great. But this was a test. This is a division game, a night game, a national broadcast game with the series on the line. You could have won the series. You didn't lose it yet, but this was a game where you could have taken 2 out of 3 at a minimum against a division rival where you are locked up no matter what to lead the weekend with the division lead in hand. And he allowed back to back to back. That is so rare. That means it's batting practice. You're not even close to doing the damage that you need to do. And I thought maybe it would be a similar storyline to what happened with Zach Wheeler. Zach Wheeler in the first inning, the Mets could have broke the game open. But because it's Zach Wheeler, they roll into the double play. And then, of course, the Phillies never looked back. Now, Mick Abel's not Zach Wheeler. So instead of 0 runs, he allowed 1. Where it could have been 4. It could have been 3. So you limit it. And you move on. And then a pretty decent bounce back inning after that. Until it wasn't. This thing unraveled. I hate watching the relief pitching come in. We already get nervous and tight when it's Strom and it's Romano, let alone Mercados. And now the Taijuan Walker experience is obviously when the game's out of reach is when you're going to see him. You tried in game 1, and I don't know if that was Rob doing Rob things, which is leaning into his strengths of being a player manager and saying, okay, you can go up against your former team. Zach Wheeler gets the start. Now we'll go to Walker. Well, the leash isn't very long. I can't go back to that in a tight ball game. And you never know with Rob, because some things he's willing to die on the hill for, and others he's willing to adjust. Bohm benched in the postseason, and hey, Bohm earlier this year wasn't cutting it at the top of the road, at the top of the order. So then you get moved to batting 7th, batting 8th. You got to recalibrate, and he's willing to dance around the batting order now, and he never would have in previous years. So is he going to have a quick hook on Taijuan Walker in close games? Because it should be more along the lines of you're getting games that are out of range. Whether you're getting pantsed or whether you're doing the pantsing, it's at least a minimum of 7 runs one way or the other. Other than that, you don't sniff warming up. Other than that, you don't get a chance at all to pick up the baseball and get loose. That's how I see it. And I was hoping that Taijuan Walker could at least become a salvageable relief arm in a game like this, let's say. And every time I talk myself into a bullpen arm this season, I have to do inner dialogue with myself and figure out if it's because I actually believe that they are good enough for that role, or is it because everything else is straight up vomit and you urinate all over your own leg and it gets in between your toes whenever you have to watch a name come in like Joe Ross. And the more and more I process it, yeah, it's obviously that. It's you are so embarrassing and so bad and so thin that it's that. I have to convince myself that Taijuan Walker could be good and useful. Taijuan Walker's not good and useful. Taijuan Walker is a stiff. We know what Taijuan Walker is. He's been here forever. You can't make this up. It won't pan out. That's the price we have to pay for stealing Zach Wheeler. It couldn't just be beautiful. It couldn't just be sensational and a beautiful steal. You have to have suffering involved, and your suffering was Taijuan Walker. And I know he's not the main priority today by any means, but it's a snowball effect from yesterday, and now my anger is now picking apart some things I didn't like yesterday, even though you got the win, and I was so riding the high because what I thought was you set the tone. What I thought is you had them down so bad where they were questioning a lot internally. I saw a clip on the broadcast of Francisco Lindor when Friday night's game was over, and he's picking up his glove in the dugout and he's grabbing some stuff, and then it showed another clip of some of the Mets walking into the clubhouse and gathering their things, and the look on their faces just seemed to be a group that was defeated. The morale was so low, almost broken in a way. So imagine this. Imagine you're in a street fight. Not that I condone this by any means. And the person you're fighting is on the ground, and you have a Timberland steel toe boot on. And you got the heel of that boot right on their neck. You have the advantage. You're in the spot of leverage. You dictate how this goes in the next few seconds. And somehow the person gets underneath and out of that situation, that sticky, bad feeling situation where you know you're toast in this street fight. You allowed for that person to maneuver out of it. And now they're back to being squared up. Shame on you. Now, speaking of fighting, I don't know why I'm going here, but I'm going to. I led you into Phillies Mets for this game on WIP this afternoon, and someone called in and told a story about being on a date, going to a Phillies Mets game back maybe 25, 30 years ago. And he said he took on a crowd of 5 guys, 4 guys. He didn't actually label the amount of guys, but it was more than 1. I was just envisioning 5 because the story was so outrageous. And he went on to say that he was straight up squaring up and winning fights consistently on this first date with this woman. And I was thinking, now, does that gain you points? When you leave that game, is that woman ready to go because she's horny and she can't even wait to drive home? So she starts as you drive home? How's that? Or is that the last time you went on a date with her because she's thinking, are you kidding me? You're a grown man and you're getting all liquored up and now you just want to start throwing punches and jabs and uppercuts with losers from up north on the turnpike? These North Jersey scumbags, they're pissing you off so much that you got to go fight them? You're a clown. You're a loser. Which way does it go? Now, truth be told, I don't know if the guy really won because, of course, it's easy to win a fight of a story 30 years ago that nobody's going to be able to fact check you on. But he made it seem he came out alive, and you should see the other guys. They all had black eyes. But could you imagine you think you're Mr. Tough Nuts and you're on a first date and then she takes you home. She's rubbing your back and she's putting a frozen bag of broccoli under your cheekbone because you're getting all swelled up and you got roughed up. Oh, you're not getting a call back then either, and you're not getting the pleasure. She doesn't want anything to do with you then. It's a very calculated risk. Hell of a story. Just thought I'd share. I'll also share with you a beautiful story about my lawn. My lawn is in A-plus condition, and I can't thank Green Lawn Fertilizing, the experts, more than I want to. I mean, I love them. They're so great. I can't stop just describing their perfection and how beautiful their team is and their communication is with you, the consumer. It's amazing. It's amazing. They are the best in the market, experts in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Delaware. They have created their own custom blend that helps your lawn recover from the problems. The first round of treatments is so important that you must start today. And Green Lawn Fertilizing is offering 50% off your first 2 treatments. 50% off. I get so much joy when I open up my back door and I allow my dogs to go play in the backyard. I get so much joy when I pull up and I park in my driveway and I walk to my front door and I smile and I acknowledge that, wow, I have taken the proper steps because I ignored my lawn when I first got a home. I didn't realize all the details that go into it, all the intricacies of making sure your lawn looks like the best lawn in the entire neighborhood, and it creates such a beautiful personality for your home. I was silly. I was young. I was stupid. Now I have brains, and I go to the experts over at Green Lawn Fertilizing because they know how to get it done. They deliver. They're the Zach Wheeler of lawn care. Okay? So do not be a fool. Make sure you check out the information down below. Check out the link. 50% off your first 2 treatments with that link, and that link will tell them that Brodes sent you. So that's the way to do it. It is no joke. They get it done. All right, let's go to the phones and listen to the people. I'd imagine there's frustration. I'd imagine there's fire, disgust, anger, as there should be. Let's take your calls.
Not the result you wanted to see from the Phillies following last night's incredible performance. This is an interesting situation for the Phillies because I don't know if you can really fault them.
Huh?
But if you're one of the people like you who hate the Mets, you're probably really upset with the Phillies' decision because they prioritized Mick Abel's needed development over putting out the best pitchers to win this series. They could have easily thrown a bullpen game on Thursday and pushed Christopher Sanchez's start from Miami back to this game. I thought they were actually going to do that. And they didn't do that. I'm not saying that was the wrong choice because even though they lost today, they won on Thursday. But but Mick Abel was going to struggle. That was not a great situation for a 23-year-old pitcher making his 5th major league start to be in. And it's not surprising that he struggles when he sees hitters like Lindor and Soto. That's not a bad thing. I'm not saying anything bad here. But I think it's just really interesting where we talk about how much the series really means to the Phillies. Yeah, obviously it's important, and I want them to win every series. But I think it's a very interesting discussion point about how much the Phillies really prioritize this particular series because of them putting Mick Abel out there.
I disagree with you. I don't think that it's a big deal to put Mick Abel in that spot. You got to learn about him. He's had 4 major league starts under his belt. For the most part, they've been relatively strong. And I know the Cubs one was a bit off and a tad of a dip compared to the others. And again, the others were Miami and Pittsburgh, and a decent start against a Toronto Blue Jays team that is at least respectful. Okay, they do put some hitters in that lineup that can rake and can destroy you when he had a good start against Toronto in a 2-1 loss. So the Cubs one was iffy, but he did do good things in that iffy start that still left you optimistic. I don't think it's crazy at all to ask Mick Abel to take the ball in this situation. This is how you learn about them. And while you want this win badly, and it's for the division, and the stakes are high, and it is a high-pressured situation, this game isn't life or death either. This isn't, hey, it's game 7 of the NLCS, and your season's on the line, and that's how much pressure is on this game. It's a big game. It's as big of a regular season series as you can find in the regular season, and I think it's a good test. If the lineup, if the rotation shakes up where this is how it falls, I don't think you need to bounce around and do all these crazy things behind the scenes to make sure it doesn't line up this way. The Mets just pitched that Kedwill kid who had a 14 ERA. It's not something where you do this dirty dance behind the scenes to make sure certain pitchers don't pitch. You don't do that. I think that's going overboard and overthinking it. It lined up this way. Take the damn ball. Let's go. We can't say that this team has the greatest pitching staff in arguably the history of baseball. And I know that's being a little extreme and dramatic, but we can't go from one side of the coin that this staff is what makes you elite, and this staff is what makes you special, and this staff is what makes you great. And then the second you lose a game with Mick Abel, all of a sudden, you got to pull all these strings to make sure this never gets lined up again. It's not asking Mercado to start, okay? You're not asking someone like that to go out there. And that's essentially what the Mets did in game 1. And they had that game tied 2-2 at one point when Taijuan Walker got in. I do hate the Mets, so you got one thing right. I hate the Mets. I despise the Mets. That is true. Now, Rob Thompson said, quote, possibly, when asked if the Phillies need a fresh bullpen arm for tomorrow. Added he did not talk to Dave Dombrowski yet. Rob Thompson on Mick Abel. Just didn't execute his pitches. Left the ball over the plate and up. And not up enough. They put some good at-bats on him. They sure did. They sure did. But yeah, I don't think the Phillies are in any way, shape, or form at fault here for seeing what they have in this situation. Lined up this way, let's go have at it, kid. It's just as simple as that. It's not a playoff series where you got to get extremely methodical and super intense on every little thing you do. Let's roll out our squad. All right, Mick Abel, all right, let's go. If Mick Abel had 5 starts prior to this where he's going 3 innings every time, then yeah, I'd say, wow, that seems ballsy. But again, can he get through 3 and allow none? If that's what it is, that's what it is. You sort of just roll the rotation the way that it is. That's the way I see it. Let's go to Amadeo, who I know was at the game.
Okay, I left the game. I attended. I left in the 8th inning.
Oh!
To try to spark a comeback. It probably ain't going to happen. So that was probably the worst viewing experience of my life. I may never attend another game against the New York Mets because I never had luck against them. I had to witness Mick Abel give up 4 home runs, 3 of those in a row. So thank you, Mick Abel, for waking up the Mets offense. That's that was desperately not needed. And for as many home runs as the Mets hit today, this was still a ball game. They were all solo shots for the most part. And your offense just couldn't string hits together after the 3rd inning. reverted to chasing everything and just chasing. And then as soon as Turner didn't come up in the sixth inning with the bases, had runners on base, when Bohm hit into the double play in the seventh inning, game was over. The game was over, in my opinion. Man, they really know how to shoot your confidence after a day when we were so confident on Friday. My God, how the times change. Now you got to rely on Jesus Luzardo tomorrow, who has been shaky, to win you a series against your division rival to get first place in the NL East. And your offense better hit tomorrow against Peterson, because he's not that good, as his stats say. He's not that good. Please, for the love of God.
I agree with you that I don't give a damn what his numbers say. He is not as good as his ERA claims. With that said, he's pitching a gem. He's got a 2.60 ERA. The toughest matchup they've seen in this series. His last go-around, he had 7 innings of 3 earned run. He had a complete game shutout against the Nationals. 7 innings, 3 earned runs against the Dodgers in a 6-5 loss. 7 2/3 and 2 earned runs against the Dodgers in a 5-2 win. He has some pretty good game logs. And I know for damn sure, I can't believe I'm about to do this, but as we pull up his playoff game log, at Philadelphia, 3 innings, no earned runs. At Philadelphia, 2 1/3, no earned runs. During last year's run. We are so desperate that Amadeo buys tickets to the game, goes to the game, excited about the game. And in the 8th, the only life that could maybe happen is because he left the game and he tried to spark the group by leaving the game and then having a story to tell his friends. Oh, yeah, remember that game against the Mets where there was an epic comeback? I left, but I had to do it to try and give this team a spark. We were so desperate, we're hoping and praying that leaving the game early created a spark. That's the spark you're looking for. Oh! I hate them! The Mets, that is. I hate them. I hate seeing the stupid orange. I hate seeing the stupid blue. I hate seeing that piece of trash, Pete Alonso. I hate seeing those greasy bastards come into our ballpark. You can just see the look on their face. They're disgusting human beings. They don't look like the rest of us. They just look like trashy North Jersey trash. And they flood all over the place, and it's gross, and it's disgusting. Just like allowing 3 straight home runs. Oh, I can't stop reliving the madness. I'm going to be thinking about it all night long. I won't sleep. I won't sleep until I see how this series finishes. And the problem is, this goes one of 2 ways. Either I can enjoy Monday with the off day, or Monday is going to be one of the worst days of my life. You drop this series. Whew. Talk about an emotional turnaround from Friday night. You win this series and head into Houston with a little bit of juice. Then Monday, I could do the salsa. Now, why would I do the salsa? I don't know. But it's a lot better than crying. Let's take one more call, shall we?
What's up, Brodes? Just finished up watching the home run derby at the bank tonight. And you know what? The Mets had, I think they had 7 home runs in the game tonight. I mean, in the home run derby tonight. While, the Phillies, they had a whopping 0. So when just based off that stat alone, I'm honestly surprised this game was as close as it was. Not that it was even close, but the thing is, right now with this team, unless the starter is going 6 or 7 innings, at least 6, the other team is really, I think, just going to be running up the score because this bullpen is not deep enough to go more than about 3 innings. So I'm hoping that tomorrow with, I think Lazardo's on the mound tomorrow. I'm hoping that we at least take 2 or 3. I think that'll still be a solid series, even though I would have liked to get the sweep, of course, but take 2 out of 3, keep the train moving. Thanks, Brodes.
2 out of 3 is very important, and it's funny. I could see a world where they do it in such a frustrating way that tomorrow both fan bases could be angry. Where the Phillies win, but it was such a devastating series, morale-wise and energy-wise, because they win in a sluggish way, and the Mets fans are going to be angry because following this game they had a sluggish performance, and so they're mad they dropped the series, and one win isn't going to cut it, and then we're angry because we didn't like the style that it looked in this final game to win on Sunday Night Baseball, and they were both just miserable pricks for the rest of, the Monday. I guess I'm going to say for the rest of the day. I'm used to Sunday games being over in the early afternoon, but on a Monday, we're all just depressed going to get our coffees at the local Wawa. I wouldn't be shocked. The bullpen, I got bad news for you. I don't even think the bullpen's set up to go 3 innings. I really don't. Strom right now is a disaster. Romano isn't even really close to being the guy you thought he was. He's now pitching in games like this in 6th innings and 7 innings, and that's what he is right now, trying to rebuild him back up. And all you really have is Kerkering. You have Kerkering for 1 inning. Your bullpen is built legitimately to go 1 inning. Think about that. Yeah. The Dave Dombrowski experience. That's what he handed us this year. After last year's bullpen, who was good all year and then unfortunately fumbled the bag in the playoffs. But yeah, no, I mean, this is a 1-inning bullpen right now. And the reliable arm is Mr. Kerkering. So it's real. You got half a guy. Because I'm kind of buying stock in Kerkering, but let's not act like he's established. Just a really nice, strong run that he's on. Aye. Hey, we'll see what happens Sunday Night Baseball. Appreciate you guys. I love you. Go Phils.